That's what he said to me. Rudi nyumbani, doesn't matter what you did. Shoka Moshe, that's what he said to me. Rudi nyumbani, doesn't matter what you did.
That song is Shoka Moshe by Stacy Kamatu, and it's in Kikuyu and Kiswahili and English. It's beautiful. I am obsessed with it. I've played it like 4 times today. I'm not tired of it yet. When I love a song, I kind of play it on repeat until I make myself sick of it, and then I stop for a while. This was used to be my intro style. It's a style I'm thinking of bringing back. Let me know if you're into that. I want to promote local Kenyan music as long as I don't get a copyright strike by YouTube. That's kind of my caveat. Yeah. Anyways, haro anyu, habari zenu, como está, guten morgen, konnichiwa, hello to everyone. I hope you having a good weekend. Today I'm proudly representing both my countries. I mean, they're represented over there. Anyways, this video was super spontaneous. It was inspired by a lot of things really, but a conversation I was having with my son today, which was kind of hilarious. So it's about how my language has evolved or changed throughout the years living in America, and how Americans, native-born Americans, think I sound, or how I sound to them. Because there is such a thing as an accent. People tell me I have an accent. I'm like, yeah, so do you. Accents are very, very subjective. Everyone thinks the other person has an accent. Every person thinks the other accent sounds cuter. Like, we are so much into, oh my god, the French people sound so romantic, you know, or the people who speak Spanish sounds romantic. Today's video is inspired by a conversation I had with my son today. He is 9 years old and he was born in America, so he's very much an American. I mean, he's Kenyan American, technically speaking. He's a dual citizen, but culturally he's absolutely American. 100%, 99.99%. I tried teaching him Kiswahili, but the one mistake I made, and I'm gonna make a video about raising cross-cultural families, because it is a whole thing. Because you want your child to speak more than one language. You want the primary parent, which was like the two parents should be teaching their children whatever language. A bilingual home is very tricky to navigate. My daughter is learning 3 languages. Anyway, he sounds American. He has an American accent. It's something I used to find very funny. I used to think about it, like, is it gonna, because I am obviously his mom, I have a Kenyan accent still, which is also part of the video, because I don't know, what do I sound like to you guys? When I speak to my friends back home, they're like, oh, you still sound Kenyan, you've not changed that much. So I don't know, obviously I can't tell my own accent, obviously, but I would like to think it's not changed much. If it has changed some, it's mostly words. I use different words here and there, which I hate, but it happens to you without you realizing it. I have lived in America since 2013, and I know for a fact some of my verbiage has changed. I'm trying to get back to it, and I'm gonna get into all that. But when you hear my voice, my you know, the way I speak, people obviously say I have an accent, which that's very subjective, because you have an accent too. American accents differ. There's a Boston accent, there's a New York accent, there's a Southern accent. They say Southern. They say Southern. That's how they pronounce it, not Southern, like I would say it. Say Southern. So the first place I landed was BFE, Georgia, and very, very country folk English. It was very interesting. They say things like fixing too. I'm like, why do you say that? Anyway, so my language has not changed that much, but there's certain subtleties in the way it's changed and morphed. For example, in Kenya we say Tuesday, not Tuesday. Americans say Tuesday. Because I've been here a while, I started saying Tuesday, and I hate saying Tuesday because I want to say Tuesday because that feels more natural to me. It's certain things. Water. Okay, so now I'll give I think something that happened to me when this was years ago when I used to eat at McDonald's before I learned that their food is, don't eat their food. Okay, it's not real food. Before I learned all that, I drove by a McDonald's and I was asking for water, and I literally, the lady and I went back and forth for a good 30 seconds. She said, what do you like? I was like, water, because I don't want to drink the energy drinks or the soft drinks because they're also full of crap. Water. She's like, what, ma'am? Water. What? Bottle of water. What would you like? Water. Oh, water. I was like, so it's almost like for them to understand you better, you have to kind of remix the way you speak. You have to waste certain words, kind of have a twang, so that they can understand what you're saying. Sometimes I honestly don't know because I don't like faking my accent. Speaking of faking accents, there are Kenyans I have met, or seen, who leave the country for 1 week and all of a sudden they have a twang, they have an American accent. And it's not even a real American accent, because if you've lived here long enough or you've interacted with Americans, you know what it sounds like. It just does not sound like that. So oh my God. There's a guy I knew in college. I'm not going to blast him, won't say his name. He had one of the most interesting accents. And I even asked, I was like, dude, have you been to the States? He's like, yeah, I went for about 2 weeks. I'm like, so why do you talk like that? 2 weeks are not enough for you. I guess fake it till you make it. There's a certain complex people have about coming to the States and wanting to seem more bougie. I don't know. It's a whole thing. There's got to be some kind of psychological reason for that. But anyways, I never desired to have a twang. And I remember running into, I went to an international university in Kenya. And I remember running into people right before, actually, during my college year, I did some performances with my cousin. She's a poet. You guys might know her. Her name is Caroline Deritu. And I did a few performances with her on stage, huge stages. We performed alongside Kayamba Africa, Kayamba Roots. And one of the times, I think it was kind of some kind of a UN breakfast or diplomats or something. And I remember singing on stage with her. She was doing a poem and I was singing alongside, providing the background vocals. And this guy walks up to me, shakes my hand after the fact, and he says, "Oh, you sang really well." Then he told me, "You're very interesting." He said, I was like, "Why?" And then he said, "When you sing, you sound like an American, but when you talk, you sound different. You sound like a Kenyan." So I was like, "Oh, I don't know what that means, but thank you, I guess." So I think it's easier to mimic the American accent for me when I'm singing. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Okay, it's not something I can control. However, after living here for so long, I don't think my enunciation has changed that much. You guys might beg to differ, especially those who've known me from back then, before I left for the States. But I don't think it's changed that much. Like I said, the biggest change has been just the way I pronounce certain words. I'll give you an example. Said. A Kenyan will say said. They'll say said. An American will say said. A Kenyan will say Wednesday. An American will say Wednesday. So, like, again, Tuesday, Kenyan. Tuesday, American. Even the what you call words has changed because I hate it, but it is what it is. I try to be stubborn about it, but sometimes you can't help yourself because you almost have to speak the lingo of the place you're in so people can understand you. A perfect example is trousers. I try to say trousers more now that I'm conscious about my language, because I'm very stubborn about changing the way I speak. I feel like I'm losing myself. I know it's silly, but it matters to me. Americans say pants. So when I'm asking my son, where are your pants? I would say, where are your trousers? I very rarely say that. And it's because, again, I've lived here long enough that I've adopted their lingo. Purse. I don't say handbag as much. It's a handbag. In here they call it a purse. Cushions, Americans call them pillows. Tissue is toilet paper in Kenya. In America, it's those tissues you use to wipe your nose, and they're different. I remember having my second job in the States, and it was so hilarious because it was a restaurant and I was the hostess, and I was in charge of making sure the toilets were stocked up and all that. And we ran out of paper towels. So I go to my boss. I'm like, "Hey, we're out of paper." I think I told him tissue. And he says, "The tissue as in," I was like, the ones that you dry your hands with. And he's like, "You mean a paper towel?" I was like, "I don't know. It's those things you used to wipe your hands." You guys, it's a culture shock is real. Now I know there's toilet paper, there's tissue paper, which Kenyans call toilet paper, tissue paper, okay? And then those are tissues. What do we even call those in Kenya? I don't even know what to call them. I don't know. And then there's serviettes. To this day I say serviettes. I have refused to change serviettes as serviettes. Americans can say napkins all day. I refuse. And I know I'm saying Americans like I'm not one of them. I know I'm American. That's a naturalization process. Culturally, I'm still very much Kenyan. Ish. Yeah. So it's really funny when I go to a restaurant, I will ask for serviettes. Hey, can I have some more serviettes? And they look at me very confused. And I'm like, these. And she's like, oh, napkins. Yes, serviettes. I'm just being stubborn about it. But I feel like I don't want to lose that part of my identity. And I know it sounds so freaking silly, but my fellow immigrants will get what I'm saying. Okay. There's the way I pronounce words. Even my husband sometimes does not understand me. And we've been married almost 4 years now. I'll say a word. And he's like, do you mean this thing? And I'm like, no, this other thing. Because something like hurt. So my son and I were having a conversation today, and I got some clay to fix something that my daughter broke. She's a monster. And obviously I have quite a bit left, and I know he would love to do some crafts with it. So I told him tomorrow we'll figure something out. Let me know what you want to build, and we can work on that. And then I told him, I want to build a hut. He said, oh, a hut. I was like, do you know what I'm saying? Because I know that these words mean the same. They sound the same. These words right here, hut, and hut, they sound the same, but they're not the same. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that my husband and I get into. Because I say it one way and he's like, do you mean this? I'm like, but that's what I said. He's like, no, you said this other thing. I was like, I know what I said. Don't gaslight. I know what I said. You just heard something else. But it's an accent thing. It's the way I speak. It's the way I've talked for the longest time. So I have to over enunciate and put certain. It's hard to explain this. My bilingual and trilingual peeps get what I'm saying. Because it's a very heavy influence. English is my second language. I learned Kikuyu until I was 4, and then I learned English, and then after that I learned Kiswahili in school, throughout my school years of primary school. So from pre-unit all the way to class 8, and then of course in high school you continue from 1 until from 4 for 4 years. But I've always had a very good command of the English language, and I pride myself on that. I'm an avid reader, which helps a lot, but my accent will always be my accent. So the way you pronounce words or the way I pronounce words, this causes certain issues with communicating sometimes. Very rarely do people not understand me, but every now and then I can tell someone is struggling, especially when I speak fast, and I'm somewhat of a fast speaker. I try to be conscious of it. So knowing that I speak quite fast when I'm on the phone with someone who's not used to my accent or not used to speaking with me, I try to deliberately slow down. It's just so hard for me. Because I'm usually just, Even some of my clients, they're like, what? I'm so sorry, I missed that. What? I have to repeat myself. But anyways, today's video is basically just a little fun episode of just talking about my experiences with being a trilingual or multilingual immigrant, and how your language can change over the course of the time you're living in a certain country. I'm glad that America is English speaking and I've not had to learn a new language. I know there are Kenyans who move to places like Germany or China or Finland and they have to learn the local language. So I'm glad for that. But there are still challenges you come into and things you have to learn along the way, because again, you have to assimilate. Assimilating doesn't mean changing your accent, but it does mean, adapting the local lingo, because otherwise, like I said, unless I'm messing with someone, I'll use a word they understand. Even if it's not typically in my vocabulary, but then also with time, it does become part of your vocabulary. Like I said, my son sounds completely American, so not like, Baba?
Okay.
Okay.
So, just say anything?
Yeah, just a rumble.
Mom's wearing a hat, we're taking a video, and
What did you do today? Where did we go? Don't say the name of the restaurant, but where did we go? To a restaurant? What did you have?
A hamburger.
And?
Fries.
And?
Coke.
Wasn't it a Pepsi?
Same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Say hi to my people.
Hello.
Of course, baby's calling now. I'm gonna call him back. Sorry, babe. I don't like hanging up on him. Okay, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, choose. Yeah.
Why was I even here?
Because I want them to hear your accent. I wonder what my daughter is gonna sound like. She's learning German, English, and Kikuyu. Because I needed to learn her people's language, her people's tongue. I miss speaking in Kikuyu. That's one of the things I miss about being home. Not like I spoke it much, but when you're around people of your tribe, you tend to speak in your tribal language, even if that was actually forbidden at work, because you want to speak a language everyone understands. English is Kenya's official language, so is Kiswahili. Kiswahili is our national language, and English is our official language, and Kiswahili is also our official language. So at least Kenyans speak at least a minimum of 2 languages, and they can understand English for those who didn't grow up in the city or don't live in metropolitan cities. But I do miss speaking in Swanglish, which is a mixture of Kiswahili and English, and when mixing up some Kikuyu in there. The song you just heard, that's a perfect example. My own music, for those who don't know, I'm also a singer. Check me out. These are my singles right here. I try to incorporate my local language, my Kikuyu, my tribal language. So I use some Kikuyu in there, sprinkling in some Kiswahili, and of course English. But because I'm Kenyan hippie, I have to represent. What I'm saying? So, anyways, that was a huge rant. Let me know, you guys, those people who have moved from the US to Kenya or Kenya to the US, and you've noticed a difference in the way you speak. Please let me know. Or if you've had people telling you, oh, siku hizi unatoeng sana, kuna toeng siku hizi, let me know, because yeah, it's hard for me to tell. I would have to ask my sister, because obviously I sound different if I speak in Kiswahili or Kikuyu versus when I speak in English. And no, it's hard to tell, because I am me, so it's hard to tell. I do know that, like I said, I have changed the way I pronounce certain words because it's easier. And because I've lived here so long, it's all I hear. And that's another thing you should be afraid of, is if you live around people who are not well read, you will find yourself watering down your language like them. So I keep myself up to a certain par by reading a lot. And audiobooks are my go-to. This is the app I use. Shout out to Chirp. No, this is not a paid video. One day, once upon a time, they will. I would love to collab. But for those who are busy mommies, that's where just you go to. Go just check them out. It's free. There's no subscription or membership. You just buy the books, and I always buy them on sale, so I save some money, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a cute little video I wanted to make real quick. I hope you guys have an amazing day and an amazing weekend, an amazing start of your week. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts, and if you have experienced this and how you feel about it and how it's affected your life personally. Alright guys, Kenyan Hippie out.